Every Beak down in Beakland liked winning a lot, but the game, which played host to Beakland, did not. The game hated Beakland. It felt all like treason. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be the code wasn't typed out just right. It could be, perhaps, that the syntax was too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that its heart was 2 sizes too small. But, whatever the reason, syntax or command, it stood there in 23 hating Beakland, staring down from its throne, ignoring every request from the friendly community they made in their nest. For it knew every beak, including the fins, was busy now, flinging for 1,000 wins.
"And they're flinging their Terrence,"
it snarled with a sneer.
"It's almost 1,000. It's practically here."
Then it growled, with its slim fingers nervously drumming,
"I must find some way to stop beak wins from coming."
For tomorrow, it knew, all the beak girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd make lots of noise. And then, oh, the joys! Oh, the joys, 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 joys! That's one thing it hated. The joys, 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 joys. Then the beaks young and old would sit down in their nest. They're the best, just the best, just the best, 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 best. They would feast on the king pig and Chef Pig's deceased, which was something the game couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something it liked least of all. Every beak down in Beakland, the tall and the small, would stand close together, be ear to ear grinning. They'd stand hand in hand, and the beaks would start winning. And they'd win. And they'd win. And they'd win, 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 win. And the more the game thought of these Beaklandy wins, the more the game thought,
"I must stop these shit grins. Why, for 6 big long years I've put up with it now. I must stop the winning from coming. But how?"
Then it got an idea. An awful idea. The game got a wonderful, awful idea.
"I know just what to do,"
the game laughed in its throat, and it found a quick fuck-up an intern once wrote. And it chuckled and clucked,
"This will make them irate. With this bug and this patch, I'll force an update. All I need is a feature."
The game looked around. But since features take work, there were none to be found. Did that stop the old game? No. The game simply said,
"If I can't find a feature, I'll fake one instead."
So it took the bird's path, then it passed some rank gas, and it drew a big rainbow coming out that bird's ass. Then it loaded the bugs and it planned all our fate in a ramshackle way as it pushed the update. Then the game said,
"Load 'em up!"
and it started to test all the grins where the beaks lay a snooze in their nest. All their nests were now dark, and the color was bland. All the beaks were all dreaming sweet dreams of their clan, when it came to the first little nest in Beakland.
"This is bug number 1,
the old Grinchy game hissed, and it mounted the nest, loads of bugs in its fist. Then it slid bugs in grimly. The bugs were so lame, but if Grinchman could do it, then so could the game. It got slowed only once when its Wi-Fi cut out. It rebooted the server with a grinchy old pout, and their little beak gem piles stood all in a row.
"These gem packs," it grinned, "are the first things to go."
Then it slithered and slunk with the gall of a hack around the whole nest, and it bugged every pack. Blues Bling and Chuck's Cheddar, Bombs Blast, more, Silver's Stash, Terrence's Treasure galore. And it bugged them to death. Then the game very swiftly bugged all the packs one by one, oh so nifty. Then it ruined the dailies, removed every gem. It took their good prizes, replaced them with phlegm. It cleaned out their gem count, each one that they had. Why, that game even took their 10 gems to watch ads. Then he bugged all the new things and giggled with glee.
"And now," grinned the game, "I'll bug KPP."
And the game bugged their prizes for killing the boss when it heard a small yell that sounded quite cross. It turned around fast, and it saw a small beak. Little Oopsie-Doo Beak, who was tiny and meek. The game had been caught by this tiny beak daughter who'd now come to Discord to spew some hot water. She stared at the game and said, "Rovio, why? Why are you taking my gems from me? Why?" But you know that old game was so smart and so slick, it thought up a lie, and it thought one up quick.
"Why, my sweet little tot,"
the big rude Scrooge said with pride.
"There are parts of the game to rebalance," it lied. "So I'm changing it up to give feathers instead. You all wanted prizes, so here's one for red."
And its lie irked the beak, but it patted her head, and it gave her a sparkle and sent her to bed. And when Oopsie-Doo Beak went to bed with her bling, it went to the update and made the bugs sting. Then the last thing it took was their way to complain, and it wiped out the tickets they wrote, that poop stain, and the new system it made could handle only one strain. And the one little thing that it left was a streak of a rainbow across the device of each beak. Then it did the same thing to other Beaks devices, leaving streaks worth a shit while it raised all the prices. They'd won almost 1,000, those old Beaks flinging great. All the Beaks hate to lose, when it sent the update. Took away all the free gems, the bonus, the tickets. It sent Tilly errors, gave responses like crickets. To every player and each clan it struck them. It loaded the update to rob them and fuck them.
"Pooh-pooh to the Beaks,"
it was grinchiously humming.
"They're finding out now. No 1,000 wins coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Beaks down in Beakland will all lose. Boo-hoo." "That's a noise," grinned the game, "that I simply must hear."
So it paused, and the game put its hand to its ear. And it did hear a sound rising out of the nest. Through all the unrest, it started to crest. But this sound wasn't sad. Why, this sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. It stared down at Beakland. The game popped its eyes. Then it shook. What it saw was a shocking surprise. Every beak down in Beakland, the tall and the small, was winning without any gems left at all. It hadn't stopped the wins from coming. They came. Somehow or other, they came just the same. And the game, with its update designed to make dough, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so?
"They came without cheating. They came without clones. They came without file swaps or cheap airplane mode."
The game puzzled 3 hours till its puzzler was sore. Then the game thought of something it hadn't before.
"Maybe winning," it thought, "really isn't a chore. Maybe winning, perhaps, means a little bit more."
And what happened then? Well, in Beakland they say that their love for their clans grew 3 sizes that day. And that moment their hearts became joyous and bright. Thankful for each other, they sang with delight. And they made happy noise and danced in their nests, and they themselves, the Beaks, won 1,000 contests.